about to get to it. So we back at it. So I had to run this back. So yesterday, but we talking about Coach Prime, and should he have left or not. So let me know in the comments, what y'all think, you know. But we're gonna get down to it. So this is from did some research, and so this is a Sports Illustrated article. Um, Ross Dillinger did this in October 16th of 2020. So we're gonna break down why Dion left, and we're also gonna break down some things. So his contract was $1.2 million from Jackson State. Now that was $120,000 in annual performance incentive and an automatic extension for 8-win season. So, in the last 2 years they went undefeated. There was no extension. Also, if he leaves, he owes them 300,000, which he definitely did pay that. He also used half of his check to upgrade the facility. If he was fired, they would give him he would get $300,000. He would have received $25,000 for each win over an FBS team. So this is incentive. Also get $10,000 for a SWAC division title. Get $30,000 for a conference championship. $50,000 for a bowl win if his team reaches the Celebration Bowl. SWAC versus MEAC champion. Sanders gets bonuses for ticket sales. If a game draws more than 30,000, he gets 10% of all the sales after 30,000. He receives 10% of all season ticket revenue after the first 10,000 are purchased. If Jackson State changes conferences, he would get $100,000. Several ways to trigger automatic extensions to contract, including 8-win regular season, which gets one extra year if the athletic director who hired him leaves leaves Jackson, Ashley Roberts. Sanders gets a 1-year extension if Jackson State leaves the SWAC. He gets 2 years added to his deal. Now, this is from the Clarion Ledger. Rashad and Nicholas did this October 12th, 2020. So the first day of ticket sales were the equivalent of the $35,000 plus fans who attended last year's homecoming game against Alabama State. That was Jackson State's third most attended game of 2019 behind traditional rivals Southern and Alcorn. There was a steady line for hours October 1st, so they were already making money. Now, even the alumni in 2006, graduate Mike Biggs, purchased tickets for the first time in a decade. This is what he had to say. I'm just excited about the upcoming season and the possibilities under the new coach, Biggs said. Obviously, you're going to have to perform. You're going to have to deliver results, but I am optimistic with his experience and his connection that he'll be able to put into place some good work ethic and practice ethics that will hopefully lead to some wins on the field. Now, keep in mind, they haven't won the SWAC since 2007. They had no winning season since 2013. And so this is from Twitter, Dwayne Blackman, but it says, bro, he was facing a lot of internal stuff. No celebration, bowl, money, went to the football program. The president was undercutting deals by Coach Prime, ticket sales, money missing, no accountability. Yeah, trying provoking change with that. So now I also did the video on Earn Your Leisure, so I will put it up on my TikTok. We'll put it up on social media as well too. So those will be going up shortly today. But what I wanted to address is that when God tells you to do something, he will give you more instructions when you get there. And here's the thing. A lot of folks are upset because Dion said that he was coming to Jackson State, because God told him to. And he said that God said he was supposed to change HBCU. And guess what? That's exactly what he was doing. Second Chronicles, right? We're going to get to the word. Second Chronicles 36 and 15, verse 16, New King James Version. And the Lord God of the fathers sent warning to them by his messengers. rising up early and sending them because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God, despised his word, scoffed at his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy. Matthew 23 and 34, BSB. It says, because of this, I am sending you prophets and wise men and teachers. Some of them you will kill and crucify, and others you will flog in your synagogues and persecute in town after town. So Prime was the messenger. See, God was giving him a message to make HBCUs better. And so where do we go from there? See, like I was saying before, the Prime, the Jackson State was not the only HBCU that was struggling with not having a facility. He took his money and he actually used $300,000 to update the facilities. So, with that being said, how do we make HBCUs better? Because I guarantee you that it's not about that. That's not the only place that needs updated facilities. And so this is what we need to talk about. See, Jackson State, when Dion had already said that he was leaving, he said he was coming back to finish what he started. So when he came back to coach the last game, somebody broke into the locker room. So they didn't break into it where the coaches is locked. Somebody went in there and they only stole Dion's stuff. They didn't steal nobody else's stuff. So we know that that was targeted. So I'm going to share that video as well too on social media. But that was targeted. He was targeted. They also showed a song that they played and they said, "One monkey don't stop no show." And see, here's the thing. What we have to understand is in the black community, we don't understand when when we need to not cancel somebody and when we do need to cancel somebody. See, he came in and he exposed a lot of things. Like he said himself, he wasn't getting the proper money from the ticket sales. When you make a deal with somebody, you're supposed to honor that deal. And so if you look at, I'm just talking about Jackson State, not talking about the other one. But with this situation, we got to learn how to do business, and what they thought was normal. Not having a facility is the big thing. Because when I was recruited playing football, guess what? That's what they show you. They show you the facilities. And so if I'm between two schools, right? Let's just say HBCU and maybe a Division II or something like that. And I'm looking at a state-of-the-art weight room, and I'm looking at a weight room that's just like where the facilities just like this. I'm like, why would I want to come here? So we see that that's an issue. So now when I went to Slippery Rock University, you had this school. So what they did was they didn't have the locker room like a state-of-the-art locker room or the weight room. But what they said was, we're going to get the alumni and we're going to build one. And so they did end up building one, and it was nice. So people are upset that Dion left. Now, here's the thing what I want you to understand. When God tells a person to do something, he will only allow a person to stay so long until God said it's time to go. Now, Dion was there for 3 years, right? These last 2 years he posted was an undefeated season. People were coming. He got game day to come. I mean, obviously we see ticket sales. People was going and stuff like that. You had like Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, other people coming. I mean, he had a partnership with American Airlines. He had, was getting them clothing. Under Armour was doing jerseys. Game day went down there. That was big. So you literally have something like that where they're on TV. People want to see them. And so you look at right now, you like, everybody's upset because he left. Yet, what if God told him to leave? Because a lot of people don't understand it. When we go to Isaiah 55:8, it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways, your ways, says the Lord." Verse 9, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, my thoughts than your thoughts. See, by him leaving, it exposed a lot of what needed to be taken care of. Because here's the thing: when the deal is made, you need to, saying, make do on that deal. And we're looking at people being greedy, and they don't understand. And so, like I said, God will allow somebody to be there for so long, and then God will remove them. It's simple. Mark 6:11. I was born 6:11. It says that they do not receive the words. They do not receive the words because that's off your feet. So we see Dion end up leaving because God told him to leave. Like I said, God will only allow you to deal with something so long, and watch God bless him. He turned this program around. Most people don't think that he's going to be able to turn Colorado around. He's going to turn that program around too. He already told some of the players, but some people got upset because he said, y'all might into the portal. He's saying, listen, if you don't want to be here, because there are some players, they just don't really care about winning. They just can play football. So there's a culture. So they're going to end up leaving. So he told them that. And so here's the thing. See, I posted a video and it hit almost 2,000 views. And I said it hit dog holler. And so when Nick Saban got to talking about Texas A&M, they had the #1 recruiting class, but they were like 2-6 this year, so they really didn't have a good season. But see, Nick Saban wasn't afraid of it. What Nick Saban was afraid of was Deion Sanders. See, he got the #1 recruit, Travis Hunter, to come down to Jackson State. Now that was big, the first ever time that a 5-star recruit came down to Jackson State. What Nick Saban was saying was, if he ever gets to a Power 5 program like Colorado, then it's going to be a problem. And so we see there's so many now in the portal. And after that, 12 people from Alabama went into the portal. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go into, Jackson, go to Colorado with Deion Sanders. But here's the thing. Good evening from Houston. Thank you for showing up, for coming on the live. So here's the thing with Deion. Now he's putting himself in position to have a bigger platform and a bigger, better facilities, and he's showing the blueprint of how it is because he left that situation and made it better. So what am I saying when I talk about the blueprint? Here's the blueprint. We talk about a lot of times, and we see them on SportsCenter, they talk about coaches not getting the opportunity. There are some places that's not going to get opportunities. Colorado hasn't been good for a long time. So with that being said, how you doing? So with that being said, him going to Colorado was big because he went to a HBCU, proved himself, and guess what? He was able to get a 5-year deal for about $30 million. Now, they were so excited that they asked the athletic director, I think, and they asked him, and he said, we didn't even got the money to pay it, but I know we're going to get it. Because guess what? Ticket sales is about to go up. Season ticket sales, merchandise is about to go up. Listen, they already know it's going to be a big thing. They're going to have TV contracts. People going to want to see the games and everything like that. So they already know they're about to make this money. Now, here's the thing. When a coach proves himself at like a Power 5 thing, then guess what? They're probably going to get a call up to the NFL. We see that. And we see that there is a lot of NFL teams. And let's just get on the Dallas Cowboys, right? So we're talking about Jerry Jones. Now, he had this photo that they said, not saying he's racist, but I would like to see him denounce racism and say it's wrong. But one thing I will say against him, actually two things. He never hired a black coach, right? Which we have a Rooney Rule about that. And number two, when Colin Kaepernick kneeled, he actually kneeled with his player. And then he changed his tune and said, if anybody else, I think they was going to be fired or fined or something like that. But see, what happens if we're just trying to stand up for equality? You know what I'm saying? That's all we asking for, a fair share of being, of allowing us to have the equality of everything, and that's all we're saying. So when somebody is against that, see, they don't have a problem because of the bottom line. See, Jerry Jones knows every year that guess what? He's going to draft somebody. He's going to draft somebody. So every year that there's a plethora of athletes coming through, we're talking about the best, right? And that's what they do. They draft the best. So when you look at a situation like the Indianapolis Colts, I think his name is Ursay or something like that. But anyway, he understood that the Rooney Rule has no teeth in it when it comes to the middle of the season. So he ended up hiring his best friend, Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday is a good person, you know what I'm saying, and he knows a lot about football. And so, I seen Shannon Sharp get on, them about that, and I actually don't have a problem. Why? Because we don't own the NFL team. If we own the NFL team, we could hire who we want. If we own the NFL team, when they start producing, then guess what? Those coaches will be able to get an opportunity to get a head coaching job somewhere else. That's another reason why Deion Sanders left as well too, because now his coaches can get paid. Now his coaches may, the defense coordinator, offense coordinator may get an opportunity to go somewhere else and make a bigger bag. And people say, well, Deion did have a song out, Show Me the Money, must be about the money. If it was really about the bag, watch this. Deion wouldn't have put half of his check back towards the university. He saw that. He saw that this is where it needed to be, because how are you going to help somebody? How are we going to strengthen HBCUs when their facilities are not up to standard? Now, they might not have a state of the art, like an Alabama, the Michigans, the Penn State University, where I'm at right now, the Nittany Lions, we are. But if they can have something, then that will allow, watch this, the other coach that whoever goes there, whether it's internal or somebody else, they're going to be able to recruit better for the university because they're going to show them facility. Hey, listen, Deion was here. Look at what he left us. You know what I'm saying? And so they're going to continue on that tradition. Now, they might not go undefeated, and they might not even win a SWAC. But that's an opportunity to say, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. And that's what I love about Deion, because he listened to what God said. So I believe that God told him to leave because it's time for a bigger movement. And so with that being said, we understood that, like Deion said in this video, we need to understand business. When you want somebody to come there and you want somebody to do business, you know what I'm saying, as a coach, you want them to do business. Now, he said, that they didn't do right with the ticket sale, and that's what they need to do. This man paid $300,000 back, and somebody came and stole his stuff. Listen, somebody know who stole his stuff, and we know it's targeting because they didn't steal nobody else. A thief? We just talking about a regular thief. They're going to steal everybody's stuff in there, right? Why would they only steal Deion? So that was somebody that knew. That was intel. But God is going to bless him anyway. So if we own some things, then guess what? We're going to be able to help people get some jobs. And so that's what Deion was showing us, the blueprint. So if some of us, and whoever go down to an HBCU and prove yourself, that might land you a bigger job. And guess what? Deion has a successful season. More likely, some of those assistants are going to get an opportunity. They may get a bigger bag, as they say, a bigger payday. And guess what? Deion's going to need more assistants. And we see sometimes with these players, what we have to understand is sometimes these Power 5 schools, whatever these schools, they don't do right by these kids. That's why we have this portal. I remember when I attended a university and they offered me steroids, and I was just like, they had took all of like the skilled players, and I said no. And they offered me steroids, and I said, listen, you don't know what's going to happen 5 years later, down the road, 10 years after college or whatever. And they said, we will find another black boy like you that'll jump higher than you and run faster than you. And it's sad to say, but that's how some of us see. Now, I'm not going to name that university that was recruiting me, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not even relevant right now. But what I want to say is Deion was showing a blueprint of what needs to be done. And my question is, do we really want effective change? Or do we really just want to just continue with the way it is? Because some folks are just not going to hire us. And this Rooney Rule, we see has issues. So the only thing is they have to interview somebody black. There's sometimes people that go in here in these interviews, they already know they're not going to hire nobody black. And blacks could have proved themselves. I talked about a video and it went viral on TikTok, already hit 2,000 views. And so that's viral for me. But I have the videos go more than that. So, and Channing Crowder was like, ain't no HBCU coach better than Nick Saban. They got the facilities and it's so you saying that Deion can't coach? So all of a sudden, so how do you know that they're not good enough to coach against a Nick Saban had they would have had a certain type of players? But yet we talked about how, if y'all noticed, how Bear Bryant went to USC, and he's one of the elite coaches, and USC beat them like 42-21. So we have this mentality where they feel like, where our own people feel like we can't, or we're not capable of doing something, and they don't even know. So when we have this cancel culture, so we shouldn't be canceling uh, Dion. We should be canceling all of the stuff we shouldn't be doing. These HBCUs got to do better. Specifically talking about Jackson State when it comes to doing business. The president, come on now, how you handle something. He's been there 3 years. What you should do is make right on it. If you was mishandling money, these ticket sales, give that man his due. Make do on it. Because here's the thing. What they fail to realize is Dion is a giving person. And so Dion is governed by God. God can tell Dion to give $1 million back to where he started, and Dion to do it. But when you steal from somebody, God ain't got to tell them that. Unless God decide to, he can't. And so we had Bomani like, oh yeah, I would have took the deal, but he sold him a dream. He didn't sell a dream. It wasn't about the bag. If it was about the bag, he would have kept his money. He used his money to help them. He used his money to feed the kids and stuff like that. That's what he did. Even with Michael Strahan and making sure they get something to look nice and everything. Like he was showing them. And even in the classroom, he was showing them that. And I like what he said. He said, listen, it's legal to smoke weed in Colorado, but if I catch you, you done. See, he understands. He understands that most people don't understand it. But we have this cancel culture, but we don't even know who to cancel. But we just take a few things. Oh man, he ain't like Eddie Robinson because Eddie Robinson stayed 56 years. No, no. He is swag. And they said he ain't swag. He is swag. We talk about swag. Come on now. Look at what he did. He came and changed the program and made them relevant. So now when somebody else comes, it's easier. Now it's easier for the coach there to recruit. But they need to do business. And like I said, to the president of Jackson State, if you know you did Dion wrong, give that man his money. Give him all of his due. Matter of fact, take it out that 300 that he gave back and give that man his due. Because how you expect God to continue blessing you and you doing right, you doing wrong by his people? Because God will only allow you to stay for a season and then he'll remove you. He was supposed to get a contract. Didn't y'all hear Dion say that? Either you get terminated or you get elevated. And guess what? God will remove you and put you somewhere else. Now, let me say this other scripture because our time is almost up when it comes to my podcast. When we talk about God will remove the talent. If you do not use the talent correctly, God will remove it. And we see that with the scripture when people put the talents in the ground. And so, like I said, this is a movement. This movement is bigger than what people think. That's why I started talking about it and stuff like that, because we're seeing now that he left a blueprint, that this is how you do business. Because when you do people wrong, it's different now, social media. And see, when it comes to the black culture, the black community, how Jackson State was running stuff, it might not be all the people. That is not normal. You may have thought that that was normal. That is not normal. So what we understand is that this has to be a different dynamic of how we're doing things, and that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. So what we understand is that there's time that is real change, real effective change. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to see real effective change. And so, like I said, I'm going to be posting some videos about that. I'm going to be sharing some things about how it's going to be effective change. And I also want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife. She hooked me up with making sure she put together this podcast and this stuff. I got to give her a shout out. So, with that being said, Dion is going to be real effective change. And this is why God told him to go down there, and then God told him to leave. Because he was only down there for a season. And God removed those people when you don't do right by them. And Dion exposed a lot of things that needed to be done. That's why I said they need to do better. And we as a people need to do better when it comes to how we do business, when it comes to facilities, what we need, and we see that. Where's all those folks that had the same energy about that's talking about Dion was going for the bag, and they're not donating money to help with that. We saw that. I just read it how in that article it said that this alumni hadn't bought tickets in years, but he did because he was excited. You know what I'm saying? So what are we doing? How are we giving back? And everybody might not be able to give back as far as money, but they might be able to give back their time. They might be able to influence some people or something like that, whatever it is. And so, like I said, there's a blueprint when he was showing us this is how we should do things, this is how we run it, this is how you get blessed. This is how you get blessed with God. Because he can come back as a visitor and whatever like that and give money. You know what I'm saying? But they stole his money. Whoever it is that stole his money need to repent. They need to apologize to Dion. Like, man, look, it's my bad. But that's all you got after what he did and stuff like that. He was helping make HBCUs relevant again. And so we see that. Just like if I was to come down there and coach, you want to make sure the facilities is to a certain extent, to a certain standard. It might not be the state of the art like the Power Five schools or the Big 12 schools, Big 10, but that's what it should be. It should be standard to a certain extent. And that's how you do business. Because if you want more student athletes to come through, then think about it. Some of them might not get the opportunity to go to these bigger schools, or they might enter the transfer portal and say, you know what, I'm gonna go down there to this HBCU, and that's what we're gonna do and stuff like that. So we definitely see that it's going to be, yeah, definitely, bro, definitely, bro. I want to say thank y'all to all mine. Just shout out on my viewers on my podcast, and, Facebook. I appreciate y'all. I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Love you.